Wreck My Podcast!
The only difference between Rick O'Connell and Indiana Jones is that Indiana Jones would never be got dead wearing those Hot Topic leather bracelets. We watch The Mummy and take a step back to 1990s CGI.
Wreck My Podcast!
Welcome to Wreck My Podcast, where this week we're talking about The Mummy. We're continuing on with Brendan Fraser series right now. I'm here with my guests virtually. He's never on the wrong side of the river. It's Cam.
It's true. I'm also never near any river because I'm social distancing.
There you go. What's a place like this doing in a girl like him? It's Krieger.
Oh, hello.
He always looks juicy. It's Joe.
Imhotep. Imhotep.
And I only swim when the occasion calls for it. I'm your host, Jordan. So guys, this film was so well received that they actually made a roller coaster after it. Have you guys ridden it?
A maze and a whole portion of the park, everything.
I rode it for the first time about a year and a half ago. Because it was actually my first time ever going to Universal Studios.
Yeah, I haven't been yet, so I haven't ridden it.
I mean, kind of like Indiana Jones, just less decoration.
It's not like Anna. Yes.
and it's like it is more like they're trying to do like CGI, but like very poorly. So.
Yeah.
What's that like hologram tech that they've been using?
Yeah. And a lot of flashing lights. I mean, I remember when I went on it the first time, it actually triggered a migraine for me. I had a legit migraine for the rest of the time of being in the park.
That's a bummer. So I thought it was a roller coaster. It's not a roller coaster. It's just a little ride.
It's not a roller coaster. It's a ride.
Oh, okay.
It's Indiana Jones.
It's
Indiana Jones a roller coaster?
It's Indiana Jones, less herky-jerky, more roller coastery, but still Indiana Jones.
Okay.
And it's all flashing lights and very terrible projections.
Yeah, you just hear Okay.
Okay, cool.
So very dark as well.
So once again, people listening can probably tell that it's not the same quality they're used to of us being in a studio recording together because we are recording separately from our homes due to the quarantine. So please forgive us while we are
My mom says sounding quality.
Yes, while we're sounding like this, and we're trying to talk over each other through Zoom meetings. So we apologize, but hey, the content's still good, right? Yes, it is.
Sure.
Yeah. You're looking for yes. All right, guys, let's show the trailer real quick so that people can remember from 1999 this movie that was so critically successful. It spawned a ride. So here we go. Here's the trailer.
Where did you get this?
On a dig down in Thebes.
Jonathan, I think you found something.
There is an ancient legend of a place known as the City of the Dead.
We call it the doorway to hell.
Where the earliest pharaohs were said to have hidden the wealth of Egypt. Are we going into battle?
There's something out there. Something underneath that sand.
They came to uncover its secrets.
Mummies, my good son. This is where they made the mummies.
They sought to unlock its treasure.
And then there was light.
Oh, boy.
What they did
Oh, my God. It does exist.
I think this may be the Book of the Dead.
was unleash a force unlike any the world has ever known.
You must not read from the book! What the hell is that?
You have unleashed the creature that we have feared for more than 3,000 years.
Whoa!
He will regenerate and no longer be the undead.
We are in serious trouble.
Can you swim?
If the occasion calls for it!
Trust me! It calls for it!
Universal Pictures invites you
His powers are growing.
Run!
This just keeps getting better and better.
to experience the adventure
It appears he's already chosen his human sacrifice.
that will live forever.
If he turns me into a mummy, you're the first one I'm coming after.
Go!
All right, so I have some questions for you guys after that trailer.
Lay 'em on us.
I'll lay it on you. Have you guys seen this movie before this time watching it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we've all seen it. Now, my
times.
question is, did you see it when you were younger, or did you see it when you were more adultish?
When I was younger.
I
when
believe
came
younger, because I can't pinpoint why the first time I saw it. I just know I've seen it multiple times.
Yeah, so like teenage
Yeah.
years probably.
I don't know. I think preteen definitely.
Okay. Joe, you too?
Younger and teenage. I mean, I've seen this movie a bunch of times before.
Yeah, I think I've only seen this movie once or twice, honestly. Like, this was probably, like, I had not seen this a bunch before this time. Now, what did you like about this movie?
Not a lot.
I mean, was like, I'm waiting for Cam.
Here's the thing. It's a fun action film, and lots of the sets were practical.
A lot of them looked great. Don't get me wrong. Like, a lot of the practical stuff looked awesome. It was one of the most anti-feminist films I've seen in forever.
It's set in the 1920s. What do you expect?
And
regardless,
it was made in what, 99?
Yeah.
Even still, women still existed in 1999. Like, I just wish that
I literally said in my head, like, was that Harvey Weinstein?
It feels like a Weinstein movie. Like, it's so...
So here's the thing. This movie was supposed to originally be a low-budget horror film because it's a remake of the 1930s The Mummy, the Universal The Mummy. And it was supposed to be a low-budget horror film, and then they decided later on to make it more of a high-budget action film. And when you do that, you have to create funny moments, which means putting women down. And
not always, but continue.
In the 90s it did. So
fair.
Yeah. So that's where it went. I feel like this was like they were trying to do Indiana Jones, but the 1999 version of it.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like to me too. Yeah.
Because Indiana Jones is not inclusive of women at all.
No, but Brendan Fraser doesn't have the charisma to make you forget about the anti-feminist rhetoric.
True.
But also he's not the worst person they could have had either.
That's true.
It's true.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I had fun watching it.
Oh, I had fun watching it too.
I had
fun making fun.
I didn't have as much fun as I used to.
Oh, Krager's starting to grow up a little bit.
Krager, welcome to my team.
I watched it, like I had a good time, but like I didn't have as good of time. I think it might be one of those times where I was like, I remember it better than it was, kind of things, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's been a little bit since I've seen it, and like the times I have seen it recently, I've caught it on TV, so it's not like start to finish.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this: the CGI doesn't hold up very well. This 21 years later.
I will tell you, the second one got worse.
I remember the second one was not very good.
I don't think I've ever seen the second one. I've only ever seen this one.
I feel like has some redeeming qualities, but I do remember
like The Rock.
Oh, I forgot about
him. Or that CGI version of him.
Which spawns his own movie.
Yep. And then the third
and launched
movie.
his acting career.
Yeah.
The third movie actually didn't even have what's her name in this? Rachel Weisz. It didn't even have her reprising her role in the third movie. They were just like new one. Oh, that was like the Emperor one. It was like in.
It was only about The Rock and the Scorpion King.
No,
that's Scorpion King. The third one is about the movie. Yeah. There's a third The Mummy.
It's about his kid.
No, it's about
the second one's about the kid.
The second one's about the kid. The third one's about
the kid. He's grown up now.
Oh yeah,
probably. Probably.
It's like a Die Hard when we had the kid in there. It was just like that. I saw that one. That was not a good movie either.
Yeah. So what did you guys not like about this film? Since it sounds like you have more about that.
Most of it.
See, I'm not as negative as Cam, but it definitely like the anti-feminism stuff definitely stuck out more. Like when she's in the library.
Yeah, dude, la library.
Yeah, like the way he's talking about him, I'm all like, that's not good.
I was sitting down next to Corey, and there were like multiple times where she went, "I don't like that." Like she said, no, and I was like, like all invested. I was like, yeah, like Brendan Fraser, he's a pew pew gunman. This is fun. And then
pew pew gunman.
Yeah, and then Corey, oh sorry, that's 2 barks in a row. Then Corey goes like, hey, I didn't like that. And I was like, oh, Yeah, this is really not that inclusive.
Well, you know what my biggest gripe with this movie is? There's too many Egyptian names.
And not enough mummies.
Yeah, seriously, not enough mummies at all. Imhotep isn't technically even a mummy.
No,
They didn't mummify him.
No,
Wait,
they didn't mummify it.
They did wrap him in toilet paper, which is kind of a big flex nowadays.
That's
It is a
true.
huge flag.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Joe, what did you say about Imhotep?
Oh, I said I actually know a guy named Hotep.
Hotep?
Spelled the same. Hotep.
Oh,
It's
Hotep?
spelled the
That's
same
pretty
way 'cause
funny.
it's spelled I'm Hotep, Imhotep.
Oh, that's
He
pretty
always make
funny.
fun of me for that.
You know what this movie had too that I hate? It's a very 90s action film thing, is that people shooting at things close by to someone and not shooting at them. So like he would run to get his gun and then they would shoot the guns, or like he would shoot someone's sword out of their hand. And I'm like, no, just shoot the person.
Shoot the person.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that in action films.
I hate it too. I hate it so much.
I love how like they're like when they go back to Hamunaptra and like the protectors are like fighting them. Everyone's killing each other, and all of a sudden it's like, all right, we're gonna stop now.
No
It's
more
cool.
bloodshed.
We killed some of you guys. You killed some of our guys. Where it is gonna go? It's fine.
Yeah.
We'll call it a draw.
Well, I thought that guy was Carl Urban at first, who was head of the Magi.
No way.
Wasn't him. Was not him.
No, that's the guy from Deuce Bigelow, Mill Gigolo.
What? What a pull.
Also, is the other guy he was part of like the bad team, and he was their Egyptian
Oh, Benny?
scholar dude? Benny? Yeah. Is he the guy who was trying to tell Pauly Shore not to weasel the Jews?
Oh no, that
in
was
7-Eleven?
no, that
is
wasn't
so
Benny.
racist, Joe.
You're
Oh.
talking about the
It was close.
I will say they do kind of look the same.
No, the dude who played so Eric Avari, who played Terrence Bay, the doctor in the library at the beginning of the movie, that is the guy from Encino Man.
No, I think Joe, are you talking about the guy
No, the guy from the library.
Yeah, same guy.
Yeah, that's the guy I'm talking about.
Oh, I was thinking about the vato in the bar.
Oh, no,
that guy.
That guy could have been in this movie.
No, because that guy looks like Benny a little bit.
Oh, they
little
would have
bit.
totally cast that guy to play an Egyptian too. They'd be like, yeah, it's the same thing. White people don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Also, it's like, oh, this might be a booby trap. Hey, you Egyptians, get on in there.
So two inaccuracies about this movie, and since this is the Wreck By
just two?
podcast, yeah.
Just
Well,
two?
there's a lot, but two I'm going to
this
bring
is a
up.
very realistic film, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, people controlling
Hyper-realism.
sand and everything. Two things: scrolls were used in ancient Egypt, so they wouldn't have made a book. So
Ever.
the
Yeah.
book doesn't exist. Two,
It was a scroll of papyrus.
yeah, that's all they had. And then two, the plane they fly later in the movie wasn't invented until 1930. So there's time travel in this movie as well.
Oh my god.
Sick.
All right, guys, did this wreck your Brendan Fraser?
No, this
No,
enhanced
because this was
my
better
Brendan
than
Fraser.
Encino Man.
This was way better than Encino Man.
I'd say it was definitely better than Encino Man, but I don't know. Like, I think I overhyped myself for it because I hadn't seen it in a while. But it was still good. It was still a good movie. Like, I have no problems with it.
Well, I wrote down it's better than Encino Man and proves that he can at least be a passable action star in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
That was when he's in prime, like in shape, like kind of like top 15, like eligible guys in Hollywood. I'd say top 15, maybe top 20. I don't know. I'm just like spitballing here.
Okay,
You can
Krager
pause
has
and
the
cut me off
magazines.
anytime.
Krager has the Tiger Beat from 1999. So.
Hey, question though, did Brendan Fraser do anything after the Mummy franchise?
Yeah, he did some stuff, some things.
Monkey Bone.
Yeah, Monkey Bone that he keeps bringing up. All right.
He did
Also,
Wow.
Brendan, the reason Brendan Fraser disappeared from Hollywood for a while is because he got sexually assaulted by a producer and disappeared from the scene for a while, and then didn't come back until about 2 or 3 years ago.
I read an article. That was like the tipping point, but also he did all his own stunts in all his movies. So his body, he's had like double-digit surgeries. His body is
Yeah.
broken down. So it's a mixture of like my body's broken and then my mind is broken from getting my pee-pee touch.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Let me talk about this movie a little bit here. It came out May 7th, 1999, so early summer release. Do you want to guess what it has for a critic and audience score on Rotten Tomato?
So I'm gonna go. Critic score is 54.
Mhm.
Audience score is 67.
Okay.
I'm gonna go critic 62, audience 83.
Okay.
Damn. Cam took my critic score. I'm gonna say critic 66, audience 74.
Okay. So critic was 60%.
Okay.
Audience was 75. So Joe almost hit it on the head there. So audience score
we
definitely
all
higher.
were like pretty close ballpark.
Yeah, you guys are pretty close. Now this
We're
had
getting better at this part.
Yeah, you're finally learning. It has an $80 million budget. It had an opening weekend of $43 million, 155 gross in the USA, and a 415 million gross worldwide. So it made its money. It was critical success.
Well, over 400 million. That's a
Mhm.
pretty big success.
Yeah, it was a big success. So most of the filming took place in Morocco and Arizona and the United Kingdom. The director was Stephen Sommers. He also did The Mummy Returns, which was the second one. He did Van Helsing, which I really liked when I was younger, but I bet probably doesn't hold up anymore.
Wolverine.
That would be a good one to do for this cast because
No,
I remember liking it too.
Yeah, Van Helsing
That movie's
is
not that bad.
It's
It's
Carl
not that
Urban.
bad.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Carl Urban? Okay.
Yeah. And then he did G.I. Joe.
It's Hugh Jackman.
Is it Hugh Jackman?
I thought it
It's
was Hugh Jackman.
Oh, okay. Then it's Hugh Jackman. Oh,
And Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, I was like Kate Beckinsale. I remember a good Kate Beckinsale movie. Let me tell you.
okay. So then I'm remembering incorrect. So Kate Beckinsale and what's his face, Hugh Jackman are in that. So Brendan Fraser plays Rick O'Connell. Obviously, we know who he is because it's Brendan Fraser series right now. We have Rachel Weisz plays Evie. She's going to be in the new Black Widow movie whenever that comes out.
It's kind of like unplanned relevance, you know.
Yeah. And then the Bourne Legacy she was in, the best Bourne movie. And then she was in Constantine and also that movie The Lobster that I didn't like but Cam really likes.
I love The Lobster.
Yeah. We have
also in a Definitely Maybe.
Yeah, she was in Definitely Maybe. And then John Hannah played Jonathan, her brother. He was in Agents
John
of
Hannah? John Hannah? How do you spell Hannah?
Hannah.
Okay, without the H, that is literally my roommate Johnny's name.
I know. I thought that was kind of weird.
That's so
and
weird.
He was also in 4 Weddings and a Funeral.
Oh.
Never seen that movie, although I hear
So-
people like it.
Johnny has partook in 4 weddings and 1 singular funeral.
Well, there you go.
Are they
It's
the same-
pretty
are
much
they the
his
same
life.
person.
I think they are. We have Arnold Vosloo, who played Imhotep, and I wanted to mention him because he was in Agent Cody Banks.
Oh my God, he was.
He was.
Yep.
Oh my
I
gosh.
forgot about that movie.
Yes.
Fun
So
fact about
That's
Frankie
on Disney
Muniz.
Plus right now.
it is.
Fun fact about Frankie Muniz: he's an avid car lover and car racer. He had a car accident, damaged his brain. He now has no memory of his time of Malcolm in the Middle.
What is fun about that fact?
She's got a point.
Just fact.
Random fact. How about that?
There you go. Random
There
fact.
you go.
Okay. Let me. I'm going to
So
explain
crazy,
this.
though.
I'm going to explain this movie to you guys real quick. All right.
Oh yes, it's time for Jordan to explain the movie quickly.
Brendan Fraser is essentially Chewbacca and owes a life debt to another person, so they go on an action-packed adventure that have universal consequences. Here's to hoping you never run into a scarab. There you go. It's Star Wars
Fair.
in Egypt.
The scarabs, I remember that's the biggest thing that freaked me out about this movie when I was a kid was bugs crawling in
Oh my
skin.
God.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh,
I remember that being
oh.
the most terrifying thing about this movie too.
100%.
Yeah, the rest of the movie, like the
Without a
imagery of
doubt.
scary mummies and scary bodies, never really bothered me.
Did
but
it?
The bugs in my skin
Oh.
messed me up.
Did it bother
100%.
anyone? Did it bother anyone else that early in the movie they say scarabs take a long time to eat your flesh to kill you, and then later in the movie they chomp away that person real fast?
Yeah.
No, I didn't care because
Yeah. It
maybe he
definitely-
was all fat. He had a low BMI.
It bugged me a little bit, pun unintended, actually, for the first time ever. But
But
I'm willing to let it slide due to the fact that there was like an astronomical amount of those creatures.
I guess, but there were also an astronomical
and they've been in
amount of them.
hibernation for so long. So I'm willing to give it that succession where I can at least somewhat rationalize it.
I feel like if you're going to take the point to exposit something to me, it has to stay consistent, though.
Yes.
And so that's what bugs me.
Well, you should take them to the IRS.
I will. I'm doing it now. The Internal Revenue Scarabs. All right. So let's talk about the plot of this movie. This is the plot breakdown. Backstory time at the beginning. There's a pharaoh and a pharaoh's daughter or wife or mistress or something.
Mistress.
Okay, mistress.
Yeah.
Okay, then there's a priest who's Imhotep who falls in love with her.
I gotta say, even back then, they were practicing physical distancing. No one could touch her.
That's true. And she was forbidden, just like every person is now as well. So the priest kills the pharaoh, then the girl kills herself because I guess Imhotep is supposed to resurrect her later, but then that gets messed up, and Imhotep gets captured before he can do it, and then he gets put in a coffin and buried alive with a bunch of scarabs.
I gotta say, I really hate when I get captured before I can do it.
Yeah, me too. It's the worst. At least let me finish. So we fast forward to the 1920s, which is 3,000 years later. We have a group called the Magi that watch over the land to keep the curse of Imhotep hidden. And for some reason, there's a bunch of people that just keep fighting over this land. And Rick O'Connell is one of them.
Corey, all stoned, goes, "Man, that football player's eye black looks terrible." And I went, "That's the worst joke. It's so stupid."
Well,
see, my mind went to like, which guy looking for? Magi.
Yeah.
Magi over there.
The Magi were supposed to be covered in tattoos from head to toe, so you couldn't even tell their facial features. But the guy who plays the head Magi was such a good-looking guy that the director then wanted them to be able to see his features.
So they were like, 2 right here. That's it.
Yep, that's pretty much it.
That was a really handsome guy, though. I'll give him that.
He was man pretty, dude.
Yes,
you are
he
all
was.
you are a dog tonight, brother.
Oh yeah, I've had marijuana and alcohol. It's 9:30.
Yeah, this is what happens when we record in the evening.
Yeah.
I just got off work not that long ago, so
Yes.
not there yet.
All right.
But
So,
weren't the Guardians the descendants of the Pharaoh's
Emperor.
guards? Emperor.
sure, why not? Let's.
They weren't.
That's
They
what
were.
said.
They were descendants of the
believe
Pharaoh's
so.
guard. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you're right.
I'll be honest. I probably didn't pay that much attention to the backstory of this movie. I was like, yeah, some Egypt stuff happens and some
And-
Pharaoh people.
No, and people were always trying to attack the city because there was always the legend of like all the gold.
Yes.
Yeah. It was like Egyptian El Dorado.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna say Egyptian gold member. But
That too. All right. So we meet Rick O'Connell, who uses his Batman voice through most of this movie.
The whole time.
You're with me on this one, right?
O'Connell almost dies, but he doesn't. And now we jump forward 3 years.
because he has a strong neck.
Yes, he has a very strong neck. Well, no, we're not quite there yet. He almost dies in the desert when he's fighting
yeah.
everyone, and then he
Yeah.
doesn't, and then he makes his way back, and now we jump forward 3 years, and we meet our
Well,
clumsy.
He was saved by the statue of Anubis, which this is the first time he saves him in this movie.
Well,
the
the
statue
statue
saves
of Anubis that only saves him because the people are scared of it. They were trying to
Right.
fight him. Yeah,
That's the same thing as the Guardians that attack him in the second time they attack. That's
guess
why
that's
they
true.
stop.
that's
'cause
true.
They were in front of the statue again.
All right, so
Wow,
now we
look at
meet.
Joe. Look at Joe getting all detail with his analysis.
Joe just loves this
Am I,
movie.
am I the only one that watched this movie?
I watched it, but I didn't
I gotta
care
say,
as much as you.
Joe
did.
actually paying attention during a movie is quite an impressive feat.
There you go. Joe just loves this movie. The rich backstory of the Imhotep. So we meet our clumsy female damsel in distress, Evie, and her goofball brother, Jonathan. Jonathan found a map to the city of the dead where the treasure is supposed to be, and the only person who can take them there is, of course, O'Connell, who's about to be hung. So Evie saves him. Here's the thing about the 90s movies, and even movies today. They're very unrealistic about hanging people. Like, oh, his neck didn't snap, so now he's going to dangle there, but be completely okay after like 20 seconds of hanging there. No,
Yeah, rather than like being like, oh, my trachea is like forced into my body.
Yeah,
I cannot breathe.
It would not be that clean. It would not be that pretty at all. So movies definitely play that up quite a bit. There's a rival American gang trying to find, what's the city called again?
Hominoptera.
Hominoptera. The city
El
of the dead.
Dorado.
El Dorado. Is Hominoptera, is that like a...
Isn't that a car?
I was going to say, is that the brand of humidifiers? Hominoptera?
It's a strip club.
It is a strip club. So we have two groups of Americans trying to find this city, and Americans are scoundrels, we find out. So, you know, us Americans, we're very
Americans
scoundrelesque.
love to
What
just
a
shoot for
surprise.
no reason. We're looking at you, Florida.
Yippee-ki-yay, I'm John Wayne. All right, so the Magi attack the boat they're on, but they all make it off. They adventure through the desert, and both teams reach the city at about the same time. The men
I'm curious about that entire bet that they made. $500 to who can find Hominoptera first.
Yeah, they got
then
there at the same time.
They got there. Yeah. And why was that important?
No.
Also,
it's
did
not,
you guys
it's
like
not to find it first?
Camels are faster than horses.
Yeah, it's not who found it first. It's who was the first to get into the city. That's why they
Nonetheless.
started racing.
Nonetheless, during that part, I don't know if you guys saw, but there was a major continuity issue.
Yes, I noticed that too. Oh, what
The
was,
guy was
oh,
on
no.
the horse the whole time, and then he was on a camel.
Yes. Okay, I saw that.
Okay. I've been noticing that too. I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was crazy at first.
It's an Easter egg, guys.
Also, I gotta say, when the American archaeologist or whatever has his umbrella, it's like, hoo-ah! I was like, that's like Jordan 100% right there. Just, I was like, I pictured Jordan just on a camel with an umbrella. Let us go, gentlemen.
Sure, I'll take it. Why not? The men continue to belittle Evie. That's a common theme. It's a motif, if you will.
Well, the big thing why, like, I'm not condoning this. I'm not saying it's okay, but you also have to look at it through the prism of it is a movie from the 90s, but also portraying how things were in the early 20th century, 1900s, whatever is the correct terminology. And back then, women didn't have, the correct respect they deserve.
Well, they don't today either, but at least we're getting closer. So
Never have.
Yeah. So they go into the tomb, and there's lots of traps, and some people die. And then my favorite part of the movie is Jonathan finds a Glenlivet 12-year and drinks it, which is one of my favorite scotches.
That is one of my favorite scotches too. Johnny
So
has
good.
it in the cabinet, and I'm refraining from taking sips of it during
It's
quarantine.
so good. I love it. So the Magi attack again and warn them to leave or die, even though they killed about half their team. The American groups find the Book of the Dead, and then Evie reads from it, just like the women always do, and allows Imhotep to be resurrected and fulfill the curse.
We also, Imhotep doesn't like cats.
He doesn't like
No.
cats, so Cam would be
true.
safe right now.
Yep.
It's like his garlic against a vampire, his cat. Now, here's another thing that I thought was weird. They reference the 10 plagues that Imhotep is going to bring, but they only show you like 3 of them. They show you the locusts, right? They show you the fire raining,
Fire, darkness,
water
turning to blood.
Okay, so there's 4. I think boils they mention, but they never really show it.
It's because they have to turn it into 3 movies.
I guess. But then, like, what were some of the other ones? Frogs never showed up.
Yeah, no frogs.
Wasn't there the death of the firstborn was one of them?
Death of
That's
the
the last
firstborn
one.
son.
Yeah. And I can't remember what the other 3 were, but there were other things.
Capitalism.
Dead livestock.
Capitalism.
Rivers run. It's a rivers run red. Ran red like blood. Death of livestock brings flies and locusts. Crap! What the heck is the other ones?
I don't even know. So
darkness and then death of the firstborn.
So
And schmegma.
let's see. And So after reading the book, Imhotep is resurrected. So now he's going around to kill the people that found the book. So correct me if I'm wrong. This is what I assume he had to do. There were these clay jars or these gold jars or whatever that had his like body parts in it or something like that, some sort of his essence. And so the Americans stole those as
You could
treasure.
call it Elon Musk.
Yes, it's Elon Musk, if you will.
Yes.
And so he had to go find those humans that stole that and kill them and take their life force to continue growing back into his full body.
Well,
That's just how Egyptians do.
those jars had his organs in them. He had to retrieve those, and then he consumed some of the original guy, the guy that stole it, I guess.
That's a pretty small organ, if you ask me, guys.
Those are
Am I
small
right?
organs. Well, just
Well, no,
add-
they say what it is. They say one's the heart, one's the intestines, one's the stomach, one's the lungs.
and they just dehydrated them so they could fit in the jar, and you just add water and they're back to normal.
So that
It's
you can
suction.
reconstitute them for later.
Yes,
Hey,
exactly.
they can put battery acid as a booby trap.
That's true.
or
They
whatever
were
it was.
pretty
It was sand acid.
forward thinking. Yeah, they were pretty forward thinking there.
They made
So-
the pyramids.
The aliens made the pyramids, Joe.
Yes, I'm with Jordan on that. Real quick,
Uh-huh.
to interrupt real quick, just because we're all looking at each other video. On a scale of 1 to 14-year-old boy, what does my mustache look like?
I'll give you 15 and a half.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. I'll give you 0.75 of a Jordan.
So what is that, a 13-year-old?
Yeah, essentially.
Okay, cool.
Jordan, I've seen you grow facial hair, so I'd say that's probably about a Jordan and a half.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So we go back now to town. Everyone runs back to town, and the Magi
Yes.
try to stop Imhotep from taking over. Well, the mummy follows them back to this town to get his sacred jars. And we learn cats are his kryptonite, and we learn his superpower is controlling sand. So he's essentially Sandman that doesn't like cats.
Well, also, are we gonna gloss over the fact that like Benny is like the biggest like bandwagoner ever?
So you know
of,
what?
like,
I
all
didn't.
religions?
I didn't even mention Benny in any of my plot
You
summary, even though
didn't.
he's such
What?
a big character.
Yeah, he's kind of a big deal.
So here's the thing. I'm trying to cut my plot section down because I usually go too in detail with my plots.
So you're
and I'm
like, let's cut out one of the most important characters.
so I'm
in the
like, look,
whole
if it
movie."
doesn't really matter that much, he's literally there for just comedy relief, and that's it. So I'm like,
That's fine.
whatever, I'm gonna cut his part out. If you
Essentially,
really
yeah.
if you really care to see the movie, go watch the movie. You know.
I feel like with his superpowers of being in control of sand and hating cats, he's like opposite Anakin.
He is opposite Anakin.
Gosh.
Like Anakin would love cats.
So is he more? So he, and it's true. He's becoming more man than machine.
So does that, does that mean Imhotep likes younglings?
Oh,
He loves them.
loves him. Here's my question to you guys. So we have the moment where there's the zombie army of Imhotep followers. Who
It's
are
called a
these people?
Zombarmy.
A zombarmy. A zombarmy. Yeah. Who
I
are
believe
these
it's
people?
Zamboni.
They were the civilians in the town.
But why are they following him? Like, why are they zombie-like?
In all honesty, that's something I've never understood about this
It's
movie.
because they all had boils.
Is that what it was supposed to be?
Oh, a plague boils just means that you're under like zombified control.
Sure.
And can be fooled very easily just by you turning around, walking with them, and seeing Imhotep.
And
Like, oh, I guess he's one of us now.
Also, what's with the head library dude? Just like, nah, I'll fend them off, and just like you didn't do anything, you just killed yourself for no reason, bro.
But did he really die? Because they just kind of like piled on top of him like a
I
dog
know it's just
pile.
like this is like dog pile.
Yeah, it wasn't.
13.
It wasn't any. Yeah. All right, anyway, so we have Imhotep captures Evie and takes her back to the city of the dead to perform a ritual to bring back the priestess or the mistress that he loved. O'Connell.
What was her name?
I don't know.
Her name was
Gold Lady.
No.
No,
Oh
Krager
my-
said it in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, her name was Riley Reed.
It's Canucks on the moon.
I like her.
Canucks on the moon.
Oh, her name is Anne.
Nuts on the moon.
Hang on, her name is like Anne Suit Nocta or something like that.
Knock someone.
I thought you were
Krager
about to
said
say
it.
it. Yeah, knocks on the moon.
Yeah, that's
on
what
the
it is. So
Like it's like when you hit a cat, a knocks and it moves.
so O'Connell and Jonathan and the head magi chase after her. The army of the dead tries to stop O'Connell, but O'Connell saves Evie. Now they just need to read an incantation out of a book, another book, and then Imhotep can become mortal and you can kill him. Lots of Brendan Fraser yelling during these scenes of action.
Also, I feel like we also glossed over the fact that the lady, like, she's supposed to be super knowledgeable and like knows everything, yet she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna read this and bring him back to life unwittingly."
So here's the thing, it's the idea of like in the cabin in the woods where she goes, "What harm has ever come from reading a book? Never read the Latin, okay? It's never a good sign."
And there's something in Latin.
Okay, I'm drawing a line in the fucking sand here. Do not read the Latin.
I mean, and that stems from Evil Dead originally.
Exactly.
Reading the Necronomicon.
Yes. And you think, oh, what could reading a book do? But we all know it brings back weird pencil in the leg demon children from Evil Dead.
And it's for nerds.
Oh,
yes.
You were going on about pencil evil thing. I thought you were talking about Doodle Bob over here.
Oh, yeah.
Mahoy Manoy.
Mahoy Manoy. So,
hey, does anyone on the podcast have a Doodle Bob tattoo? Does anyone here?
Nope, definitely not Cam.
Nope, definitely not me.
So we get to the end of the movie here, and they end up reading the incantation after some fighting, and they kill Imhotep after a weird ghost carriage comes and takes his body away. I felt like I was watching Ghost for a second, and then the whole tomb starts collapsing, and they narrowly make it out while losing the book in the process. What do you know? There's a big sand explosion. I think Michael Bay might have been in the director's ear a little bit to be like, hey, explode that sand. And then there's a romantic moment where they kiss because that has to happen in a 1990s action film.
This time it was consensual.
It was consensual. And then that's the end of the movie. And there's no post-credit teaser. What do you know?
They get away with gold. A lot of it.
I love gold.
Wait, what gold? Oh, that's right, because they have it in the pack and they don't know it when they're walking away.
Yeah, because the excluded character, Benny, while all the fighting was going on, had found all the gold.
Yep.
And was loading up the camel, but died before he can get out of that temple.
And then also the Magi guy was supposed to have apparently died. And then again, they said he was too heroic and good looking. So the director was like, yeah, just have him be outside. And then it's like, oh, cool, you made it, bro. So dumb. So bad.
Well, they never show him die. They just show him fighting, and then you just don't see him again.
Well, he comes back in the second movie, I believe.
He kind of heroically runs into a horde of undead army to save them, and then it's not really a heroic thing anymore because it's not a sacrifice. Anyway, whatever. I digress. It's kind of like digesting, but a little bit less. So, I have fun facts for you guys. Here's some fun facts.
What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh yeah. What is facts? Baby, they're fun. They're fun. Oh yeah.
Did you know Brendan Fraser almost died during the hanging scene?
No.
Oh, I mean, that doesn't surprise me, but like, wait, he actually like.
So this is how it was filmed. The stuntman was filmed during when the platform opened up and he went down and he was wearing a harness, right? So it looks like you hit real hard, but you get all the impact on the harness. Well, they needed close-ups then of him dangling there, so they put the rope around Brendan Fraser's neck and he actually blacked out from it because the pressure was too much. They didn't do it correctly because they pulled it too tight and it wasn't supposed to be that tight.
You know, there's safe ways to film that, right? Where there's not actually like tension on the part
you
that's
have
around
a
the
fake
neck.
rope around his neck, and he acts. He's an actor.
So they did it.
He wears a harness on his back,
harness
and
the
rope
whole
actually goes
time.
down and connects to the harness, and then there's a separate another rope that's basically not attached to anything that's actually hanging.
Yeah, and he's connected by his waist to the rope.
So here's the thing. They did that originally, but then they weren't getting the shot they liked, so they said pull it tighter, and the stunt guy pulled it super tight, and Brendan Fraser didn't want to say anything, and he just blacked out.
He probably couldn't say anything.
Yeah, and then
Probably
when he
couldn't,
when he came to, the stunt guy was like, "Welcome to the club, man."
That's
All
kind
right.
of cool, though.
Tuesday for me, bro.
And it's
So-
cool. He's part of the club.
So one of the cloaks worn by one of the background people in the movie, I didn't spot it, but it was the same cloak that Alec Guinness wore in A New Hope.
Oh, that's sick.
Obi-Wan
Oh.
Kenobi's cloak is in it. Yep.
That's rad. I didn't see that at all.
That's
The
kinda
lead
cool.
Magi, his name isn't said in the whole movie. The only way you know his name is in the credits.
What's his name?
Wow.
I don't know. I didn't write it down.
Interesting.
The unstable political climate made it impossible to actually shoot in Egypt, which is why they went to Morocco to shoot.
I believe that 100%.
Also,
Yeah.
it's a
Yep.
fun name.
Definitely.
So,
Alright.
unbeknownst to the cast, the director took out kidnapping insurance, which is a thing, on the main cast members because even in Morocco, they were in risk of being kidnapped all the time because it was such a bad political climate there as well.
Makes sense.
I believe that as well.
Yeah. So he didn't tell the cast until afterwards that like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, if you guys
Northern
would've-
Africa in 1999. Duh.
Yeah, no good. Live animals were used as much as they could. So the locust, that one scene of the doctor and the locusts and everything, that's actual locusts that were flying around. Or
But
not
the
locusts,
camels,
I'm sorry. They were
CG
grasshoppers.
the entire time.
All the camels and the cats, CG.
Come on, those humps don't lie.
Those
No, they
scarabs,
don't.
real. All of
Yeah,
those scarabs
all real
were
scarabs.
practical.
So for the television broadcast, they put a bikini on, they like CGI'd a bikini on the girl at the beginning because she was essentially just body paint.
Right.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, Gold Girl. I don't, whatever her name was, Asuka Moon.
Anaxinamun.
Hana Noxina Moon. Cook Poo.
Cook.
So
But they
The-
CGI a bikini on her for the TV release?
for the TV release, yeah. And then the airline version of this movie edited out the plane crash because on a plane you don't want to be
You're not
thinking about a
allowed to,
plane
yeah.
crashing. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yep. And
And
then
they're going to say they edited out the mummy.
the whole mummy.
Also, I mean, this, I get this is like a more PG thing, but like, did he like, how should I say this? Did he have a happy ending, like as he died? Like, cause he had that weird smile on his face.
Wait, who are we talking about?
Oh, the pilot.
When the plane died. When the plane.
Oh yeah, because he was going to see his wife.
Oh.
He was dying and going to see his wife. So you know that's what you do.
He wanted that last adventure. He wanted
Had
that
to
last
break
thrill.
one last one off.
Yep. The crew members were often airlifted out after being bitten by scorpions and spiders because they
What?
were camping out in the desert
Yeah.
and there was a lot
Big
of
no
snakes
thanks
and
to
spiders
all
and
of
stuff.
that.
Count me way the fork out.
So here's a cool thing, guys. What's it called? Humanoptera?
Hominoptera.
Hominoptera.
That's the place.
Okay, so where they built that set is in the crater of a dormant volcano.
Sick.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, huh?
In Morocco?
That's rad.
Yeah. I don't know if it was
That's awesome.
Morocco or is Sahara in Morocco?
The
That's
Sahara
awesome.
I
is
believe,
not
I believe
in
that's
Morocco.
where Matthew
No.
McConaughey resides.
Where what?
McConaughey resides.
Who?
Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, you're talking about the movie Sahara? Good lord.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. The Mummy was originally planned to be. Oh, I already told you this one, a low-budget horror film, and then I told you the last one too. So that's all my fun facts for you guys. I couldn't find I couldn't find a conspiracy corner on this except for the fact that like all these people's names in Egypt were real people, but they were like completely fictionalized.
Tom
I will
Cruise
say
is
that
like, Tom Cruise is like, I'm mad I wasn't in it. Eventually, I'm gonna redo it.
Yes,
And-
Tom Cruise was actually supposed to be casted in this movie as Rick
What?
O'Connell.
I believe it.
Mhm.
That is hilarious. Yeah, at least
I will say none of your fun facts were nearly as fun as Krager's earlier in the show.
No, you can't beat that fun fact.
shout
When-
out Frankie Muniz.
Yeah, when there is
Friend of the
brain
show.
damage involved, it's always way more fun.
He's friend of the show, but because of the brain damage, he doesn't remember.
No,
so.
he's a huge fan, but he's always leaving a new review because he forgets he leaves an old one. So Frankie Muniz also barfed up a blue icy in a Disney Channel original movie.
Yeah.
He did.
Yep. All right, guys.
Which
so
one?
that's which one? The one where he rides the car. He's in like
the
a little
mil-
dirty.
Like a mile a minute.
No,
like
it's
that.
called
Minute
Miracle in
Mile?
Lane 2.
That one, sure.
Yep, Miracle in
Yeah.
Lane 2. So, guys, anything else you want to discuss about The Mummy? Because we're going to watch The Mummy Returns. We're going to watch The Mummy Enter the Dragon. We're going to watch The Mummy Reboot. We're going to watch The Mummy animated television series.
The Mummy
we're gonna
2
finish-
Electric Boogaloo.
Yes.
Then we're gonna end up with Kung Fu into the Fist.
Yes.
Well, now that Krager's film tastes are maturing, I think we should revisit Parents.
Oh.
I think we should.
That's a hard no.
What about Parents 2, Grandparents?
It's a good one.
It's a good movie. It's a great movie. So, guys,
Kelly up.
this was a fun.
Hell,
I think this was a fun movie to rewatch. It was not a stinker like Encino Man
No,
kind
I
of ended
enjoyed
up
it.
being. Encino
I
Man
didn't
really
think Encino Man
ruined.
was a stinker.
Well, it really ruined my perception of it. Where this one at least was fun, so
just
it
didn't
didn't
have enough
wreck
juice.
too much.
This
Oh.
movie. So I'll say that this movie is exactly the way I remember it for the most part.
Yeah, me
Where
too.
it's not
Pretty
like
close.
it's not like I'm saying it's the best movie ever. If you enjoyed it, you'll probably still enjoy it. If you didn't, you probably still won't.
Yeah. So, I have a suggestion. So there's a guy out in Australia, and he suggested to us to watch a
Hold on.
movie.
Wait, we have fans in Australia?
We certainly do, which I will give him a
Sick.
shout out right now. Let me just make sure I get his name
Yeah.
right. His
Oh,
name
that's
is-
awesome.
So,
Dude,
so
I'm
I,
like legitimately flabbergasted.
so I'm
Wait a
probably
minute, is
gonna.
it Cole Phen of Cole Phen Enterprises?
I'm probably gonna butcher his name really bad. Dermot Gary, I think is how you say his name.
Dermot.
Dermot
It's by
Gary.
Jamal.
Dermot.
It's not Dermo.
Dermot Gary.
Dermot.
It's
So-
Dermot.
Dermot. Okay, so Dermot,
Gary.
he's a fan, and he's been writing in recently, telling me some suggestions he has, telling me what he thinks would be some cool things. And he mentioned
If he's requesting Crocodile Dundee, I'm gonna lose my mind.
call that a movie. That's not a movie. This is a movie.
This is a movie.
So he wants us to watch, and it's a movie I've never seen before. Is My Cousin Vinny?
Oh, that
Yes,
movie's amazing.
Just, I just watched it for the
the-
first time this year. Late last year, early this year. It is such a good movie.
Dermot, the
that's best
screenwriter-
suggestion. It is such a good movie. I
Way
love
to
that
go,
movie.
Dermot. The screenwriter from that movie is a graduate from the exact same screenwriting program I went to at Cal State Northridge.
Well, there you go. So here, what we're going to do is we're going to take a slight break for our next episode from Brendan Fraser series, and we're going to do My Cousin Vinny so that Dermot can get what he
100%
wants. Because if he's listening
Yeah.
all the way from Australia and he's heard me do my awful shrimp on the bobby impersonations, then I
Is that
think he
the-
deserves to
Is that
get
the
what he
only
wants.
thing you can say in your Australian accent? Is that the only phrase?
Yeah, and I can't even say that one. So I,
It's like if you say "rise up lights" in Australian, it sounds like you're saying "razor blades." Rise up lights.
and if you hold your
Yeah.
tongue and say apple hole or apples,
Apple
it's just
hole.
apples.
Oh,
It's just Apple.
Except don't hold your tongue.
Apple.
Oh no, don't do that, guys. We're not supposed to be doing that.
No,
I wash my hands
Yeah.
so much.
I've been washing my hands. Like I had to buy like extra strength lotion because like my knuckles are cracking like crazy.
Yeah, sure. That's the only reason why. Okay, so we are
Jordan,
done
I
with
can't
this
believe you haven't
episode.
seen My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah.
You're
I
gonna-
mean,
Yeah, that blows
I
my
can't
mind.
hate on you. I didn't see it for the first time up until like within the last 6 months.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see this. This will be a lot of fun
It
to do
is
that movie.
a fantastic movie.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Even maybe by then we'll be in our studio. No, we won't be.
No, we
So
won't be. Two
we'll be back with that one. All right, guys. Find us on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. All the links are in the show notes. We're going to be doing a live show on YouTube again on Sunday. So if you joined us this last Sunday, thank you. If you didn't, don't sleep on the YouTube. Go check it out. Go check it out. We're going to be giving away prizes and playing games with our listeners this next time. So go ahead and do that.
I'm willing right now to send you 2 rolls of toilet paper if you win one of our challenges. I
There
will
you
send you 2 rolls of toilet paper.
There you go.
Unused.
All the way out to Australia. So
Unused. You have to
Unused.
specify.
So leave us a rating and a review. If you leave us a review, we'll send you a sticker. So go ahead and do that. Patreon is a great place to support us and get rewards. Redbubble is a great way to support us and get a shirt. We also have an Amazon link on wreckmypodcast.com. It's being underutilized right now, so we'll probably get that closed down soon if people don't start using that. I mean, you're buying everything on Amazon right now anyway. We're all stuck inside the house, right? So go use the link on wreckmypodcast.com. Thank you to Ben from Petrified Gumbo Music for making our intro song. If you have a podcast or show that needs composition, hit him up at petrifiedgumbomusic.com. We are going to be back. I don't know how the situation is going to go, if we're going to do a round table again next week, or if we're doing 2 shows a week, or what we're doing right now. But just keep checking back, keep listening. You know what we did miss, you guys, that we got to do is our Bad Date Bonanza finals.
Yeah, we did miss that.
I forgot about that.
So we're going to have to schedule a time for us to talk about that, because I know one person won, and I let Charlie Shaw know that somebody actually
Someone
won.
got a perfect bracket.
Yes. And I won't say who, and I won't say what the brackets are until we do the show. So
Phen from Phen Enterprises.
It
So
wasn't
come
me,
back
'cause
for
I
that.
forgot to do one.
Yep. I don't think any of us actually did it. So
I mean, I did it on the Instagram.
no, I mean actually did a bracket suggestion.
No. Yeah, I just voted on Instagram.
Yeah. So tune back for that. We'll have that coming up here soon. And thank you to my guests for being here in our virtual workspace for the time being.
Yeah, man, no problem.
And thank you to our listeners, because we love getting wrecked with you.
Rick.
I love you.
I like and I love you all.
Wreck My Podcast. Wreck My Podcast.
What was that?
We didn't hear that, Gregory.
All right, guys. So that's a wrap. I know it's really hard with jokes. So hold on to that joke and then wait for a time to slip it in there. Just
Like Bill Cosby.
exactly. Your jokes are Spanish fly.
Oh, God.
Uniform distance away, kind of like we would in the studio.
I'm gonna eat this
My
next
mouth
bite.
is this far away from my microphone.
So you know how it's
Mine's about pinky to thumb.
So you know how we have to do 6 feet. We have to do 6 feet for social distancing. It's 6 inches for podcast distancing.
I'm a 12
Mine
right now.
Mine's probably 9.
No, I am.
I just imagine Joe pulled that ruler from out under his bed.
I'm 8 inches.
I'm probably.
Mine's at about.
I'm probably similar to Joe.
Mine's at about 6 right now.
What's that when it's fully erect?
38.
centimeters.
Yeah, which is not the worst.
Not terrible. I've seen worse.
How long is 38 centimeters?
It's longer than 37 centimeters.
Theory, how many is 38 centimeters in inches?
I like you said just how many.
38 centimeters is 14.96 inches.
Whoa.
That's a big one.
That's big. All right.
That's scary.
So those are my 2 suggestions when we do this later, is we just need to be more conscientious of not talking over one another.
But Joe was also really quiet, I felt like.
Yeah, Joe is the quietest, but
Can you guys see how red my eyes are?
Wreck